Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to GeekWatch, a subsidiary of the Monastery, the open bar of the internet. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and with me as always is my good brother here in the temple, the man of 1,000 runes, the CEO of Zadare Enterprises, and the bane of my fucking existence, good brother Xanatrix.
I don't know how he did it, but I swear this is Monk's fault.
Wait, I'm baning you now? That's not how this works.
I know this isn't how it works, but it must be your fault.
Is this because I'm the leader here?
I mean, if you want to use that particular caveat, go ahead.
I keep using it whenever I hassle mods when they screw up on any other server that I'm on.
Well, I guess that works then. I'm going to use it to hassle you.
At least I take responsibility for my fuck-ups.
True. That makes you about better than 90% of mods on the internet.
Mm-hmm. For those who never saw A Bug's Life, i.e. when Pixar actually knew what the hell they were doing, first rule of leadership, everything is your fault.
Yep.
And I know some hipster's going to say, Bug's Life, don't you mean Disney's rip-off of Seven Samurai?
Nobody's going to get that joke, Monk.
Again, hipsters. But, fortunately, we are not here to talk about hipsters. There are plenty of people to talk about hipsters. We are here to talk about InfiNity. i.e. the game that I love breaking X 40k players into just to watch them squirm.
It's good shit.
Now, InfiNity it started out as a miniature war game, and then as one naturally does with this kind of thing, evolved into a TTRPG. Now, the war game itself is interesting. The miniatures are 28 millimeters. There is a lot of manga influence. The war game is published by Corvus Belli, which is why you usually see Corvus Belli InfiNity on a lot of material. And it is space opera. But I would say its particular brand of space opera has more in common with Mass Effect than with Stars War or anything like that.
Monk, I hear it in the distance. Do you hear it? You said it earlier. You should hear them all reeing. You said manga influence and anime influence. I can hear them.
I mean, you've seen the concept art when it comes to InfiNity.
I have indeed.
And for the record, a lot of the designs with the factions, units, and even the mechs. Of course, I'm gonna bring in the fucking mechs, even though they're more power armor than mechs. Of course, I'm gonna bring that shit in. It's very clear to me that somebody was studying under the works of Masamune Shirow.
Very true.
But I know, and while some might say that this doesn't look like it has any resemblance to Ghost in the Shell, I would say that it's more reminiscent of the work Shiro did before Ghost in the Shell, Appleseed.
Absolutely. It's still Shiro's work.
Mm-hmm. Now, it is, despite that, there is still a fair bit of grit. There is still some elements of cyberpunk, but it isn't doing the evil corp kind of cyberpunk. Mostly because there's bigger threats than the evil corporation capitalism bad metaphor.
Wait, Monk. There can't be anything more important than that, don't you know?
We'll get to that later this month.
Oh, Jesus.
But
you fuckers are ready for a rant from both of us? You've never had both the monk and me angry at the same time, but you might.
But let me read off the fluff section straight from 1D4chan, which no matter what can always be endlessly entertaining. A gritty cyberpunk sci-fi future focused on black ops and realpolitik through weeb lenses. Humanity discovered travel through deep space via gates/wormholes, resulting in the first disaster caused by mysterious forces. After an economic crisis and recovery, humanity reached out to about a dozen habitable systems with the help of a caretaker AI. Humanity is still balkanized, but now it's not just by nation, but also by corporate allegiances too. Just as humanity was getting confident, and Aleph, the caretaker AI, was learning what it could do, they made contact with another alien culture who wants to annex humanity into their empire. The combined army wants to assimilate us or turn us into computer chips for its evolved intelligence. The Tohar are being coy about what they want, but it will likely involve something similar. Military action is never overt, as diplomats maintain an appearance of civility while quote-unquote rogue insurgents are dealt with by quote-unquote police actions among the colonies, and quote-unquote unsanctioned criminals are eliminated with quote-unquote unfortunately too little evidence to identify them. While the main powers of humanity fight a constant Cold War, the Interstellar Combined Army seeks to conquer and assimilate humanity's knowledge and technology.
That sounds like a fucking kick-ass world.
Yep.
We all love this type of shit, don't we?
Mm-hmm. Now I don't want.
We do.
There are several factions, and each of those factions have their own little sub factions. The biggest power in what's the dozen or so planets that I mentioned are referred to as the human sphere. There isn't really the whole inner sphere and periphery kind of relationship because there's not enough planets to do that. But you have Pan-Oceania, which is the hyperpower. It started out of a economic alliance between Australia, New Zealand, the Philippines, and Indonesia, which managed to be such an economic powerhouse that they bought out the US and the EU and India's debts.
That doesn't make any fucking sense, but okay.
Basically they have a lot of technology and leadership advantages, and very Catholic space knights.
So we're dealing with the fledgling Empire of Man, but this time from Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Would that make it the Empire of Man? Took you a second, didn't it?
Yeah. They are currently in a Cold War, but they're currently in a Cold War with the other hyperpower Yujing, which is what would happen if China embraced state capitalism.
Wait a minute, you mean if China actually grew a brain?
And in addition,
I can hear the China boos in the distance, Monk.
And the Yujing is mostly China, but there's also elements of South Korea, Japan, and a lot of East and Southwest Asia, because after the economic crash, a lot of those countries incurred a lot of debt. And Yujing, after creating essentially a Greater China, ended up becoming a hyperpower to match Pan-Oceania. They are technically advanced, but in a different way. They have a lot of power armored infantry, and tend to put emphasis on close quarters.
I hope everybody is paying attention because there will be a test at the end of this.
Mm-hmm. Aridana is formed by the descendants of the Kazakh, Russian, French, Scottish, and American colonists who were sent to the planet known as Dawn.
The planet of Dawn.
Yeah.
Also, I think you might have said that wrong. I'm not sure.
Aridana, sorry.
No, Ariadna.
Ariadna, sorry.
You mixed up a couple letters there.
They're probably one of the more diverse armies.
Diverse in the good way.
Yeah. They tend to are very easy to field a lot of troops because they have some heavy infantry, but they prefer having light infantry that's cheap and elite infantry that's less cheap. Along with camouflage. They're really good at camouflage.
Lots and lots of camouflage.
Also, one of their sub factions, the Caledonian Highlander Army. Uh,
No, I'm not excited about that at all. What gave you that idea?
yeah, um, and one of the more interesting factions to me is Hakislam. What would happen if a branch of Islam that decided to drop a lot of the conservatism while still aiming for the old golden age actually became successful.
A version of Islam that isn't completely backwards?
It They describe it as based on the Islam of the golden age, but a divergence from the conservatism and embracing more humanistic ideas. They technically only have one planet under their control, but
Technically.
that's not where their real power lies. Their power lies in having the lion's share of biotechnology, as well as a monopoly on a substance called silk that can be used for mind uploads, as well as the thing that's allowed them to leapfrog everybody else when it comes to medical and biotech.
Interesting.
Um, it also means that no that because of that medical advantage that they have, um, nobody is willing to outright pick an open war fight with them.
Yeah, you don't pick open war fights with people who can fuck with your brain while you're on the operating table.
Hmm. They they do rely they tend to rely a lot on light infantry, but because of the bioengineering, a lot of their stuff can have a variety of weird ass abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're they are technically neutral and will sell the silk technology to everyone, but I liken it to in Star Wars there was one planet that was aggressively neutral because because it was the one planet that had access to the material that's used for a lot of medical tech, including things like bacta
Active
tanks.
things. Mm-hmm.
So even in the days of the Old Republic, neither the Republic nor the Empire or the Sith, whichever you prefer, was willing to try and conquer them, because if they shut off that supply, the whole the whole civilized galaxy is fucked.
Yeah.
Um, Haki Islam is kind of in the same way. They'll sell silk to anyone with the condition of stay out of our affairs. Of course, again, there's a whole lot of Black Ops emphasis with InfiNity, so people still try.
And sometimes they even succeed.
Mm-hmm. And
But that's everybody. So just as much as Hakislam is being acted against, they are also acting against others, even if they're officially neutral.
yeah, also one of their sub factions is the Bahram, and I know ba- Bahram.
Bahram.
Um,
The Hassassin, the Hashashin,
yep, assassins in
the
space.
assassins. Is it because is it because of the creed that they have?
They are they are probably one of the hardest forces to play because a lot of their stuff relies on melee, and there's one interesting rule that InfiNity has in the war game. And this is the reason why it's always fun dropping X40K players into the game.
Mm-hmm.
When you declare that you're activating a unit, any opposing unit that has line of sight with it can get a free range shot in.
Overwatch.
Yep, a very aggressive Overwatch policy that one makes anything that's melee specialized have a lot more abilities to help them survive, because if they're going to get that close, it's going to be stupid easy to hit them.
Hmm.
So you'll either see, and any melee setup will either be very tanky or very dodgy. So dodge build or strength build.
Hmm.
Oh, then there's the nomads, which I'd say think Tali, and you're not going to be far off. They inhabit 3 huge spaceships that declared their independence in the early days of the space program. They're basically the misfits.
Hmm.
So they do a whole lot of biomods because they can. They have the best drugs, and
We love the best drugs.
and they are the I guess this would be the closest to what people would consider the periphery, because they're
Mm.
kind of the odd ones out of all of the factions. Um, they love using drones and unmanned mechs and camo. They're also the best. They also have some of the best hackers you can get, because when your whole territory revolves around 3 huge spaceships, you're not inclined to play fair.
Yeah.
Um, the the combined army is essentially aliens in service to what's referred to as an EI, or evolved intelligence. These this is for people who really like using elite factions, because all their stuff is high cost. Um, Aleph. Well, I already mentioned Aleph as the caretaker AI, which has its own associates.
Yep.
They're basically Section 9. Um,
I thought O12 would be Section 9.
O12 in the table in the RPG. The player characters are assumed to be agents of O12, so that the Section 9 thing would be apropos there. But O12 is essentially the governing body of the human sphere.
Yeah. I just figured since we're going to be talking about the RPG,
Hmm.
I'd make that comparison.
Yeah. Um, and O12 is one of those forces that's fragile unless you know what you're doing. So in that
Yeah.
regard, they wouldn't be too far removed from an Eldar army in 40K, where you've got a bunch of specialists.
Yeah.
Uh, and of course, these are vast simplifications, and that's not even getting into the not the non-aligned armies, which are basically armies that aren't aligned with any faction, and are essentially mercenary companies.
Yep. There's an entire faction for those in the RPG, just simply labeled mercenary.
Hmm. In the war game, they're called NA2, or well, non-aligned armies. One of them is the Japanese Secessionist Army.
Are they
Or
seceding from Pan Oceania?
um, from what I recall, they seceded from Yujing,
Ah.
because well, Japan was one of the places that was absorbed into the greater China, into
Yeah.
that greater Asia. Um,
Yeah.
and Yujing is treated as if they're the bad guys, but if I'm being honest, the faction that feels like the quote unquote bad guys is the combined army. When you're dealing with a game that's focused so much on Black Ops, you can't really do the absolute good guys and absolute bad guys. Uh,
Well, and let's face it, the combined army being the extraterrestrial threat, literally in this case,
Hmm.
um, it makes more sense that you've got minor in groups of good and bad, and of various shades of good and bad that are all uh, pointing their knives outwards at the combined armies.
I've seen some people say that the combined army is analogous to the Covenant. No, the combined army are not religious fanatics.
Yeah.
A better comparison would be the Four,
Mhm.
especially with the whole thing of being controlled by an AI,
Yeah.
a hyper advanced AI that is trying to figure out ways to get people to ascend into energy forms to escape the heat death of the universe. Geez, now I'm really thinking of Marathon.
You know, uh, if that's its goal, then why doesn't it just tell people that?
Well, the first time that the race that created the EI that is central to the combined army, it decided that its creators weren't worthy of the knowledge and wiped them out.
Man, not gonna lie, the trope of an AI deciding it's superior to its creators is one of those ones that I really hate because it causes a lot of unnecessary fear mongering regarding AI in real life.
I've made it clear that if I ever wrote a science fiction story that involved AI, one idea that I would want to explore is an AI that is from the get-go built towards benevolence.
So a sort of anti-Roko's basilisk.
Yeah, much in the same way that there is a psychological block that humans have when it comes to harming other life, to the point where the idea of why don't you is 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 so obvious.
Yeah.
Um, building an AI with that kind of approach, i.e., it would it wouldn't it not a full on pacifist, but the idea, but essentially giving it an AI with a moral center instead of a hyper logic center.
That'd be a hard thing to program, to be honest.
It would it
You have
would
to.
be a hard thing to program, but that's what science fiction is for.
I have a great science fiction series for everybody to check out if they want to check out benevolent AI. It's called the Brave series of anime. I'm not kidding either.
Nope.
That's the best part.
So, getting to the heart of the matter, after doing that massive massive bit of exposition on the world of InfiNity, and that's not even getting into the fact that you have not only do you have mechs, you have infantry, but you also have hacking as a mechanic that can be utilized,
Hmm.
which means that, because it would be very easy for someone to say, well, why don't I just field a bunch of drones and um and and I'll be able to tough out. Well, drones are hackable.
Yep.
Now, I will always appreciate a game that gives options that are safer but not exactly safe. Of course, even with this, there's still ways to do really dumb stuff if somebody knows what they're doing, but that's a moot point because you can assign that to any game. So now, fortunately, somebody quite a while ago had created a site version for the Lifepath generation that's used in all of the 2D20 games that Monastery puts out.
Hmm.
and InfiNity is no exception. Although it is a little bit outdated because there's some expansions that this doesn't cover, it's good enough for what we're doing.
Yeah, as we're just going to cover core, the other expansions aren't necessarily required in this
Yeah.
case.
Now there's two methods. We were originally going to use the optional method that gives 12 life points, but because of the fact that there's no randomization with that method, it isn't going to work for us. So I'll have you start the first one. So the first step is birth host.
Yep. And I have 2d20 since this is a 2d20 game. How do we want to do this? Odds and evens?
Um, we'll do odds and evens when it comes to whether or not we re-roll a certain step. But
Okay.
we have some points to go through. First being of course birth host. Your life begins with attributes determined by a range of factors that influence your early life. Your life path will take you through a series of events that will determine your starting attributes. At this point, all attributes start at 7. You may lower any attribute by 1 to increase another by 1. No attribute may go below 6 or above 8 by this point. So do you want to keep it all 7s or do you want to shift one of them?
I think keeping it all sevens is going to give us the greatest baseline here, simply because of the fact that these would correspond to how you make how your character works mechanically, and most of what we do with these life paths doesn't really have to tie into the mechanics all that much.
Mm-hmm. And then the next step is whether or not you're going to increase any with life points, and I'm guessing the answer to that is no.
Correct. That's a no.
All right. So then our host body, we can either go with human or we can go with dog face, which is a type that's exclusive to Ariadna.
It also costs life points. I'd rather just go with human.
Mm-hmm. All right. Then we have faction. Where where were you born and which faction do you owe allegiance? Your faction is the political faction you currently belong to. Your heritage is the faction you were born into. So are we going to roll or are we going to select?
I say we roll faction.
All right. And we rolled a minor nation. So we have a +1 to a +1 to education and pilot in expertise.
Okay, so faction, minor nation.
I shouldn't you technically don't have to type it all out because at the end of this we can extract a PDF that'll have everything filled in.
Oh, well, that's useful. For once, I don't have to write everything out.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So next we have your first signature skill, which will give +1 focus and your first talent. Are you going to pick education or pilot?
I choose pilot.
All right, and that gives you the ace talent, so you can re-roll 1d20 when making a pilot test, but must accept the new result. And this is a good time to talk about the core die mechanic when it comes to 2d20. A lot of people end up making the mistake that it's just d20 system, but you're rolling 2 instead of 1. That's not the case. 2d20 is a success-based system where you're rolling under your attribute plus skill.
Yep.
The second, you're usually rolling under attribute plus the skill expertise that it has. So in this case, if you and so in this particular case, if you're rolling say agility, anything that's under a 7 is going to be a success. Where focus comes in, and focus is usually a smaller number, is if you roll under that, then that die counts twice. And even though 2d20 is the default, there are risk reward ways to get yourself more d20, but at a cost.
Yeah.
Usually doing something that's going to add to a pool that benefits the GM.
When he can buy complications.
Mm-hmm. So, next we go into nation. So are we going to roll or select?
Roll it.
Earth. So
A
you get
minor nation on Earth? That doesn't quite make sense.
uh, so you welcome to Lifepaths. So you get +1 to intelligence and awareness.
And I get the skill lifestyle, but no expertise or focus in it.
Um, no, you get +1 expertise in that.
Ah, okay.
Some nations will give multiple options.
Ah.
All right. Then status,
Roll it.
social class. Now that you know where you were born and raised, let's find out more about where you grew up. What were your economic circumstances? First, determine your social status by rolling or choosing your social class.
Roll that.
Yep. And then home environment. What was life like and what type of people were you surrounded by? Continue determining your social status by rolling or choosing the type of home environment you grew up. Roll it.
Roll it.
So,
Middle class and
yep.
rebellious.
So middle class gives you +1 to willpower, and rebellious gives you +1 to awareness. You're also going to get +1 expertise to pilot, and the S that you see here is to note that it is a signature skill.
Because I've already chosen a signature from it.
You already chose it as one of your signature skills early on.
Yeah.
Right. Then youth event. Each event indicates something that had a massive impact on your youth. It might be something you've long since put past you, or it might still be the core of your later life. But either way, you'll want to use the simple description as a springboard for your imagination and detail exactly what happened. Roll or select.
So part of me wants to select these events because I actually went through this system a little bit earlier, and some of these events are fucked. But in the spirit of chaos, let's go with rolling it.
All right. Witnessed backroom deals being made.
Okay, and so I'm to come up with some sort of detailed whatever about that.
Yeah, obviously we won't be doing that tonight. Otherwise this show would be a lot longer than normal.
Indeed.
And this is already fairly detailed compared to some of the previous Life Path episodes we've done.
You're not kidding.
So next is education. What kind of education did you get?
Roll that bitch.
A technical
Technical.
education. So +2 to awareness, so that's at 11. +1 to intelligence, so that's at 9. -1 to willpower, so that's down to 7.
And then I've got mandatory skills and... So, something cool about this, I can technically get an expertise in everything that doesn't already have an expertise, so let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
So tech, thievery, and observation. But here's the fun part. I can choose to get a focus in something I already have expertise in.
Mm-hmm.
So let's throw another focus into pilot. Let's make this bitch powerful. And then let's just go with one more expertise in education. I don't foresee whoever this is using that too much at this point. And then electives. Here I can choose 2 out of 3, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. Throw 1 in hacking. And 1 in extraplanetary. Who knows? I might be out in space.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess choose another signature.
Yep.
Huh.
And remember, your choice of signature is also going to determine your next talent.
Talent. Mm-hmm. Throw a focus in tech.
All right, which grants you the talent Natural Engineer Tech. When making a tech test, the character may reroll any dice that did not generate a success on the initial roll, but must accept the new result. You're going to see that. You're going to see that kind of effect with a lot of early talents.
Okay, and then I think you have to click that box next to it to choose it.
Yep. You also gain a powered multi-tool and a repair kit with 5 parts.
Nice. Let's roll the adolescence event.
Mm-hmm. At some point during your adolescence, you experienced a defining event which shapes who you are today.
Jesus.
Either you or your partner became pregnant, gained a debt worth 3 assets.
Shit. Okay.
Keep going or reroll.
Let's keep going.
All right.
If it were bad enough, I might reroll.
Let's see. Then we get to career. What career or careers did you decide to pursue? Are you doing something that you love? Are you trapped in a job that you hate? What are you good at, and what are you learning out among the planets? Are you aggressively seeking promotions or happy where you are? You'll complete a minimum of 2 career phases, and you can spend a life point for each additional career phase to a maximum of 4 career phases. So here's the options. You roll basic career, select a basic career, roll a faction career, hazard career, unemployed, which gives you an additional life point, or change faction.
So, you might want to explain what hazard career is here, Monk.
Uh, let me let me let me let me look. When I'm just gonna read off what it says in the core book that I have.
Okay.
When hazarding a career, you're taking a risk and hoping it pays off. Choose a career from any table, including other faction career tables that doesn't have a faction prerequisite, and make a challenging D2 skill test using one of the mandatory skills listed for the career. On a success, you have found employment in your career of choice and can now work that career. If you fail your hazard test, however, you must either repeat your previous career or become unemployed. If this was your first career phase, or if you were unemployed in your previous career phase, you have no choice but to become unemployed. You can reduce the difficulty of the hazard test by 1 life point spent.
Okay. So this is risky way to get a career. Got it. Let's just roll a basic career.
All right.
Military.
Which gives +2 to agility, so that's at 9. +2 to awareness, not +2, +1 to awareness, so that's at 12. +2 to brawn, +1 to coordination, +2 to intelligence, doesn't change personality, and +2 to willpower.
All right. And then I'll obviously take an expertise in all of the mandatory skills for obvious reasons.
Yep.
As for the electives, I'll take 1 in survival and 1 in acrobatics.
And next is signature skills.
I'm gonna throw focus into ballistics.
All right. So you've got a few choices when it comes to talents. Design savant, rank 1. Graceful, grease monkey, marksman, martial artist, rigorous training, rank 1. Self-sufficient, and snap diagnosis.
Let me check here. Snap diagnosis.
All right.
Reducing difficulties of tech tests starts to specialize me, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. So, snap diagnosis. The character is able to identify the problem with any broken or malfunctioning device, to recognize a vulnerability that could be used to compromise it. The character reduces the difficulty of any tech test performed for diagnostic purposes by 1 to a minimum of simple DO. When an exploit action is taken, the snap diagnosis also grants the piercing weapon quality to the character's subsequent attack with a value equal to their tech focus, which stacks with the normal piercing quality granted by exploit.
Nice.
So you're not only you're good at repairing shit, but you can also use that to be good at shooting shit.
Yeah. What equipment do I get from my
medium combat armor, a rifle, 4 standard reloads, and 3 stims.
Nice. Oh
So,
god, career event.
while working your career, what was the most significant event in your life? I'm guessing you wanted to roll it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I gain an ally in the Ariadne faction. That's actually nice.
Let's see. Are we going to continue this career or go with a new career?
I think we'll continue this career.
All right. So we're continuing military.
Yep. Hold on a second. My connection's being dumb, and I'm not able to. Everything's blurred. I'm not able to see things. I'll drop the stream real quick and come back.
All right.
Okay. So, let's throw an expertise in athletics, an expertise in close combat, and an expertise in ballistics. We'll just add one more expertise to each.
All right.
As for electives, throw another expertise into tech and another expertise into survival.
Okay, now we have our next talent, and your options are Design Savant, rank 1, Explosives Expert, rank 1, Graceful, Grease Monkey, Jury Rig, Marksman, Martial Artist, Rigorous Training, and Self-Sufficient.
Okay, let me read the new ones here.
Talents are akin to feats, but since they're organized in trees based on skills, it makes them better than feats.
Indeed. Jury rig.
Sorry, carbonation. Often when a critical piece of equipment breaks down, either due to wear and tear or damage, components necessary to replace it are unavailable. Characters with this talent have a knack for making do without. They suffer no penalty for tech tests attempted without the use of proper tools. They can also make an average D1 tech test to temporarily repair a device when necessary parts are unavailable. On a success, the device will continue functioning for 1 hour. Each point of momentum earned on the test can be spent to add an additional hour of function. I should note that, for the record, the momentum is basically excess successes. You're not going to see a whole lot of high amount of success requirements in the 2d20 system.
Yeah.
I mean, after all, average just requires 1.
Yep. I'd like to note that that Porkchop pointed out Minor Nation and friends with an Ariadne sounds like you're Scottish. Well, you're not wrong. I am a quarter Scottish. But next is another career event, right? I don't want to roll this one.
You want to select.
I do want to select. Because I've looked at some of those, and they're fucking busted.
Okay.
Let's see. There was one, I believe, in table B. If we scroll down a little bit more.
Say when.
Right there. Lucky day. Something paid off. Gain 5 assets. Because fuck you, I'm already in debt 3 assets.
So, continue career, new career, or finish the career phase?
I think we'll finish the career phase. We'll just go with the normal 2 careers.
All right. So now we deal with the Geist.
Oh my god.
The Geist is based... For the weaves among you, a Geist is a net navvy.
A net navvy. Jesus, that's one way to say it.
Mm-hmm. But it is basically the digital friend that helps with all the hacking stuff.
Yeah.
So, you have 2 attribute points and 4 skill points to improve the Geist with.
Well, I don't remember which stat it is that does tech. Isn't it intelligence?
Let me... Let's see. Yes, it is.
All right. Put a point in intelligence. Is intelligence also where hacking is?
Yes, it is.
Okay, 2 points in intelligence
You
then.
can't do 2 points.
Oh, that's right. Oh, what's another good one then? Let's see. How about coordination?
All right. And when it comes to skills, where is it? Where are you going to put that in?
1 expertise in tech and 1 focus in tech, 1 expertise in hacking and 1 focus in hacking.
Let's see. So,
Because I know you can do that. I played around with it earlier.
and tech, and what was the other skill?
Hacking. I've already pigeonholed myself as some sort of tech militarist. So
All right, and then final tweaks. You can improve up to 2 attributes and up to 2 untrained skills. Then select the talent.
okay. Well, 1 and 2 intelligence for sure. I don't know if I could put both in intelligence, but I don't think so.
No.
Yep. And then I guess let me see here.
Probably
Did it again.
coordination because a lot of pilot stuff is in coordination.
Yeah. 1 into coordination. That's why I did coordination earlier too. And then 2 untrained skills are things I don't already have, right?
Yep.
That's a hard one, to be honest. Considering all things considered. Let's my screen did it again.
It looks like with a lot of them, it's more about putting focus into skill. You can either put focus into skills you already have expertise in, or expertise into untrained skills.
Let's put focus into hacking.
All right.
And then let's put, since I've got pilot, let's put expertise into spacecraft.
All right then. So now we
As,
now we have to pick 1 talent out of this.
oh my god.
Born to the Wheel, Combat Pilot 1, Design Savant 1, Discipline Student, Explosives Expert, Graceful, Grease Monkey, Hacker, Marksman, Martial Artist, Meteor Head, Push the Envelope 1, Rigorous Training 1, Self-Sufficient, Sharp Senses, Socialite, Space Ace, Stormbreaker, Thief.
Oh jeez. MacGyver spelled Guyver. Wait, am I wearing a bio boosted armor now? So let's see here.
Let me know if you need me to scroll up.
Let's put in hacker. Tech and hacking and tech.
When making an InfoWar attack, the character may reroll a number of damage dice equal to the number of hacking talents they have acquired. As normal, dice may only be rerolled once.
Mm-hmm.
I should note that the 2d20 system uses d6s for damage, kind of.
Kind of.
In the sense that the 6 is replaced with a symbol, and if you roll that, some extra stuff can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then final tweaks. You can use the 4 remaining life points to either increase your Infinity Point refresh rate. Infinity Points are your extra efforts. increase your skills or assets, or gain new languages.
Um,
You've got 4 life points left.
I do, because I rolled everything except for that one event, because I knew the next event I was going to get was going to be shite. I know where luck lies. I know when RNGesus is plotting. Let's increase infinity point refresh rate by 1.
All right.
And um hmm. Is this all skills or just some skills?
I think this is all of them.
Okay. And then I could do 1 to 6 random for 1 life point.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do that.
All right, so you've gained English,
English, Italian,
Turkish,
Thai, and Spanish. Well, I'm a polyglot. Look at that. I'll keep that. That's a nice one. And then, I've got 2 life points left. In hacking, let's add in 1 more expertise.
Whoops.
And in tech, I saw that I could increase my focus again, so let's do that. Let's really specialize in what we're all going to be good at. Piloting, hacking, and tech.
All right. So now, before I export the PDF, what did you want to go with as far as a name?
Seamus. Seamus. Thank you, Pork Chop. You gave me inspiration.
We are not going to deal with
Description. Yeah, don't need that.
Mm-hmm. And all that's left is export to PDF.
I also know Punjabi and French from my origin.
Yep.
I'm a polyglot.
Mm-hmm. And this is what the full character sheet looks like.
I have quite a bit of firewall.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why. Nice. Very nice. Yep.
I would say, as an aside, I do. Some people look at the character sheet and say there's too many pages. And I heard that exact same thing with Anima, but some of the pages you're not, depending on your build, you're not even going to use. Like if you're playing like how in Anima, if you're playing a Tau, why would you need the page all about magic?
Yeah.
And obviously, you could shift over to taking a level in Wizard, but most people don't multi-class.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, let's move all the way back to path selection, and now it's my turn.
Indeed, it is.
All right. Let's see, first birth host, and I think I'm going to reduce personality by 1 and increase agility by 1.
Okay.
I will not use any life points for host. I'm going with humans still. Let's see what faction we get.
Ariadna.
Ariadna.
Are you my friend?
As far as signature skill, let's go because we already have survival and medicine as 1 expertise. For signature skill, let's go with medicine. So we have the physician talent. Then homeland.
Yep.
So let's roll it. Antipodean Wild / Outlands, which gives
Which
us an expertise in animal handling as well as +1 in willpower and brawn.
Pork chop, I don't think either of us will be selecting Dogface because Dogface costs 3 life points.
If I was doing the full pick option, I might consider Dogface, but no. So then social class and home environment, we'll be rolling both of them.
Middle class and regimented.
So we're 2 for 2 on people involved on military aligned characters so far.
Mm-hmm.
So +1 expertise to coordination. So then youth event. I'm going to roll it. Defection, you switched allegiance to a new faction, corporation.
So now you're no longer Ariadna.
Mm-hmm.
You're corporate.
So next, education. A rural / colonial education.
Brought your personality down to 5. Nobody likes you.
I feel like this person is turning into Dr. House if he was in the army. So let's go with one in resistance, a focus in survival. Let's see, education, pilot, and tech. As far as the elective skills, I'm thinking putting 1 expertise in observation and 1 expertise in athletics, as he's going to be on the run from people getting pissed at his diagnoses, even if they're the correct diagnoses. Let's put 1 focus in observation. So we gain the sharp senses talent. You can re-roll 1d20 when making an observation check, but must accept the new results. And we get a survival kit, 3 survival rations, a nav suite, and a knife. I don't think this character is going to be part of the Coca-Cola Death Squad. Right. Next, a adolescence event. So let's roll it. When your first love was forced to move across the human sphere by their parents, you both swore to find each other one day. Gain an ally in the mercenary faction. Right. And let's go with a basic career. Ship crew. Yeah, that makes sense. And you're not exactly going to get a whole lot of people person skills on a ship. So, as far as mandatory skills, let's put an expertise in extraplanetary. I think we can go with a focus in tech and a expertise in survival. Let's see, then elective skills. I'm thinking expertise in science. Sorry, not spacecraft, and an expertise in science. Let's see, and as far as signature skills, I am thinking we'll go with 1 focus in spacecraft.
All right.
And as far as the talent, so we have the options of Meteorhead, Natural Engineer, Scientist, Self-Sufficient, and Space Ace.
And 4 of those are, you may roll 1d20 when making X check.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of going with Natural Engineer, and we gain some more equipment: a vac suit, 5 oxygen loads, a powered multi-tool, and a repair kit. So then, career event. When working your career, what was the most significant event in your life? Let's roll it and see what we get. You are sent out into the field as a roving specialist, either in person or through immersive VR. Where did you go? What did you experience? Gain 4 languages.
Nice.
All right, let's continue the career. So we're still ship crew. Uh, let's put one focus in Let's put a focus in extraplanetary, expertise in tech, and a focus in survival. And for the elective skills, I'm thinking a focus in science. And let's go with an expertise in ballistics.
Guns are good.
Mm-hmm. And for the talent, we have the choice between design savant, explosives expert, grease monkey, marksman, meteor head, scientist, self-sufficient, snap diagnosis, and space ace. I'm thinking grease monkey. The character is familiar with mechanical systems and recognizes the most likely points of failure intuitively. When attempting to treat damage sustained by an object or construct, something with structure and faults instead of vigor and wounds, the character gains 2 bonus momentum.
So you're a robot doctor. Got it.
Let's see. And then another career event.
Fired! Oops.
Let's see. You have been fired from your current career. How do you want to proceed? New career. And I think for this one, I will use 1 life point to roll a basic career. Special forces.
Well, went from ship's crew to spec ops.
Mm-hmm. Okay. 1 more expertise in survival. Let's put 1 focus in ballistics, somehow in the spec ops, and let's put 1 focus in resistance. And then for elective skills, let's put an expertise in hacking and an expertise in close combat.
Now you've got all these talents to choose from.
So we have hacker, marksman, martial artist, self-sufficient, stubborn, and sturdy. I'm thinking of I think we will go with marksman. When making a ranged attack, a character with this talent may reroll a number of damage die equal to the number of ballistics talents they have acquired. As normal, die can only be rerolled once. And so we get medium combat armor. We have a choice between a combi rifle and an AP rifle. I'm gonna go with an AP rifle.
Yep. You get a 5 standard reloads.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Do we go with climbing plus or combat jump pack? I'm going with the fucking jump pack.
And a garrote.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
I feel like I'm being turned into a harm assist.
Maybe.
In fact, let me look at the weapons on the PDF so I can see the description of a
AP rifle.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So it'd be in gear catalog. Oh. The so hang on because trying to look the old-fashioned way. Um, it is basically a rifle is basically a combi rifle with AP ammo. So that's a nice armor you have. It'd be a shame if somebody pierced it.
Mm-hmm.
Like what Brian had to say. AP is pretty good. The bullets are made of the same stuff canteens are made from. All right, then a career event. You develop a rare genetic disorder and are affected by a genomic toxin. Your genetic order reduces your maximum vigor by 1. The treatment required to cure your condition will cost 15 assets. We are re-rolling that. And you know what? Okay, I'll take that. While doing your job, you are killed. What happened? Your character died and was resurrected. And I'll go with standard host and continue. So then the Geist. So we have 2 attribute points. Good.
This is why I used 1 LP to purchase an event rather than rolling it a second time, Monk.
Yeah, that was my mistake. Let's go with putting 1 in awareness and 1 in agility. And as far as the skills, we'll put 1 in science, 1 in spacecraft. Say 1 in ballistics and 1 in analysis. Then the final tweaks. Let's boost up personality to 5. And let's bring agility up to 9. As far as the untrained skills, let's put see where is let's put a focus into close combat, a focus into athletics.
Your underpowered death ray from a toaster personality doesn't matter at this point.
You never know.
God damn it, pork chop.
So we have we have a lot of talents to pick from. Let's see. Ace, acute senses 1, clear shot, danger sense, design savant, disciplined student, emergency doctor, explosives expert, field dressing, hacker, makeshift wizard, martial artist, meteor head, quick draw, rigorous training, scientist, self-sufficient, self-treatment, sense memory, sense of direction, snap diagnosis, space ace, stubborn, sturdy, through and through, and wild empathy.
Very nice.
I am gonna go with field dressing.
Okay.
So the character has become particularly adept at practicing medicine in situations where few resources are available. They suffer no penalty for medicine tests well, attempted without the use of medkit or stocked medical facility. Let's see.
You've got 1 life point to your name, Monk.
I don't feel like using it to do random shit, so I'm putting that 1 life point into InfiNity points. So, given that
You fucking died.
yeah, I fucking died. Oh, but given
Is you
these, good.
What's really funny about this is you can die at every stage that there's an event.
Yes.
So it's almost like Traveler.
Mm-hmm. So, so given the fact that even though he's got some combat skills, he seems to be more of a technician or a field or instead of a behind the scenes field agent rather than somebody who's on the front of things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and some bits of combat medic. Um, I'm gonna be a smartass and call him Dr. Maison.
That is a very smart-ass way to do it.
And it works even better because one of his languages is French. He speaks Korean, Spanish, Farsi, and French.
Yep.
So we have our Harmacist,
Indeed.
who's also, let's see. This means that with a although it seems that the skill that that I ended up being absolutely best at is survival because the TN is 14.
Clearly, you were not the best at survival. You died.
Yep. But this is a weird character.
That's par for the course with InfiNity.
Mm-hmm. And apparently his best uses of damage are Infowar and ranged attacks. And actually, no, melee and ranged attacks are his best, and Infowar is his second best. And of course, nothing in Psywar. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
we'll be making any psychics.
I should hope not.
Mm-hmm. Whoops! It exported twice because I hit the wrong thing.
So what do you say we do a 12 life point run on these ones, Monk? On these next two?
Yeah. Okay. Before that, let me get rid of the last one that I had. Oh. Okay. So first birth host. Are you staying at all sevens?
-1 personality, +1 brawn.
Okay.
But I'm not increasing any. And I'm gonna go with a human.
All right.
But now I get to select my faction, which is fun stuff. I'm actually following along on my screen so I can keep this sped up.
Mm-hmm.
So the faction that I'm going to go for is Mercenary.
All right. Going freelance. But what faction were you born into?
Aleph. And my first signature skill is going to be athletics.
All right, so you get rigorous training at 1 as your first talent.
Yep.
Now which LF aspect are you going to pick?
Let me see here. I actually haven't read this part yet.
So we have aspect and we have recreation.
Yep. I'm going to go with a recreation.
Recreation. Aleph is also responsible for the recreations, a combination of innovative biogenics and experimental cubes. Hosted in sophisticated L hosts, recreations are faithful simulations of the personalities of important historical figures, although their skills have been adapted to the modern age so they can work as diplomats, soldiers, spokespeople, and artists.
Yep.
All right. So, where were you born and raised? So now we're selecting your concilium.
Even though it gives me the same choice for 4 of them. So obviously we know what I'm choosing.
So 1, 2, 3, or 4.
1.
All right. So +1 to
Expert.
intelligence and personality, and expertise in persuade.
Yep.
So now we go with social class.
Yep.
What social class did your AI construct of somebody grow up in?
He grew up hyper elite. I want them earnings and I want that willpower bonus.
All right. Then home environment.
Let's see one. That one was going to be violent.
A hyper elite violent background.
A hyper elite violent AI.
Mm-hmm.
Who is a mercenary.
Are you trying to make Legion?
No. But thanks for the idea.
All right, so 1 expertise in acrobatics.
Mm-hmm. And now I get to select my youth event.
Mm-hmm. So let's narrow it down. Is it a witness, an involve, a discovery, a family change, a media fad, a succumb, a social construct, or one of the solos?
I'm looking here. I gained blackmail material.
So let's see.
Flood the Impaler, it is. Oh, pork chop. HK-47?
Gained blackmail material. You have been given proof that the mercenary faction has committed misdeeds against the Ariadna faction. Either party will grant a favor for the evidence.
Yep.
Then, education.
Okay. Let's see here. Let me take a quick look around all this. Military training.
I'm getting the strangest case of Dijon mustard. Okay.
No Dijon mustard. I'm going to throw an expertise into athletics, ballistics, close combat, and observation, and a focus into acrobatics.
Close combat, observation, and a focus in acrobatics. Okay.
My elective skills are going to be command and tech.
So our AI spent time in an officer's academy?
Well, remember, he's a recreation of somebody from history, just brought to the modern era.
Okay, then signature skill.
I think for this signature skill, it's going to be a focus in ballistics. I get marksman.
All right, marksman. I already explained what marksman does. You start with armored clothing and a pistol. The idea of armored clothing makes me laugh. Um, like the thing that immediately comes to mind, even though it isn't setting appropriate, is the chainmail suit that is literally made of chainmail.
I know what you're talking about. At some point during your adolescence, you experienced a defining event which still shapes who you are today. Where is it?
So there's first off, are we going on table A or table B?
You know
Or
there's a table C, right?
or table C.
Um, I am. I'm looking. It took 2 years, but you did the training and successfully completed one of the planetary Ironman competitions. Gain 1 rank in athletics. It's on table C.
All right. Let's see.
And I'm going to put that point into a focus. So I have 2 expertise, 2 focus.
So a AI construct competed in an Iron Man competition.
Yeah.
So what? How did you say you're gonna mess with athletics?
1 more into focus. Yeah.
All right. Now for career.
I'm going to select a basic career.
All right.
And for that basic career, you should already be guessing. I'm going to choose military.
All right.
And that's another expertise in athletics, a focus in close combat, and another expertise in ballistics.
All right. And now for elective skills.
A focus in survival and a focus in tech.
And signature skill.
Survival.
And now
Maybe one.
which town? So here's what you have for potential talents: clear shot, cliff dweller 1, graceful, leverage 1, martial artist, natural, quick draw, rigorous training 2, self-sufficient, strong swimmer, and through and through.
I'm gonna take a quick draw.
All right. The character can draw a weapon or other item as a free action instead of the normal minor action. This can only be done once per turn, although when the quick draw action is taken, the character can draw a different item into each hand, in order to dual-wield pistols, for example. This talent exists for both the ballistics and close combat skill, and if it is purchased for either skill, it can be used as the prerequisite for talents in the other skill. That's actually pretty cool.
Yep. So now we go to my career event.
But
Let's
before
look.
that, equipment, medium combat armor, a rifle, 4 standard reloads, and 3 stims.
Yo.
So now for career event. So and once again we have a table A, a table B, and a table C.
Okay, let me just look here real quick.
Yeah, the what I'm calling the rule of the 12 option when it comes to character creation. I I um I always saw that as a at your own risk kind of thing, or this is what you do if you've already been around.
Mm-hmm. Table B, near the bottom. You volunteered to take part in a secret medical experiment that succeeded. Well, almost. Gain a talent in a talent tree of your choice and describe how you can do this as a result of the experiment. However, sometimes you lose the plot or wake up in strange places.
All right. So there's a lot of talents.
I know.
I
I'm
am
gonna.
not reading all of that.
I know. I'm opening up the talents overview because I know there's a specific talent I want. Was it? Where was it? It was commanding presence.
Commanding presence. The character leads with immense charisma and persuasive skills. When making a command test, any momentum spent or heat paid to add extra dice to the skill test, add 2 d20s to the dice pool instead of 1.
Yeah. You're gonna see why I picked that.
All right. So are
But
we
now we're gonna
continuing
go with
career
a
or new career?
new career.
All right.
And this time we're gonna roll a faction career. Which gave me ship crew. That's fine.
Which faction first?
Didn't let me choose a faction? What?
Yeah, for where I am, you have to pick a faction first before you can roll the faction career.
That's weird. Hold on. Hold on. Something. I don't know if there's a choice been made that changed things on my end over yours because I've been choosing the things in the order that we've been choosing them. You know, new career.
Hang on, let me. No, that's no, that is. Okay, what the hell?
I chose quick draw here.
This particular system isn't perfect. What did you pick for signature skills?
I added +1 focused. Wait, hold on. Go up to the regular skills first.
Mm-hmm.
I have +1 expertise to athletics, +1 focus to close combat, +1 expertise to ballistics.
Right. Elective.
It was a focus to survival and a focus to tech.
Signature.
Signature here was survival, +1 expertise to survival. And then I chose ballistics quick draw. Not selected a talent. What the fuck are you on about? Yes, you have. And then the significant event here was down near the bottom of table 2. Lost the plot and all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And commanding presence.
All right.
New career. Roll faction career. There we go. Oh, intelligence operative. I'll take that.
Yep.
So I'll add focus to observation, 1 to stealth, and 1 to analysis.
So you said focused observation?
Yes.
1 stealth, 1 analysis. Right, then elective skills.
Hacking and education.
And fortunately, I don't have as long of a list when it comes to talents as we did before.
Sharp
Disciplined,
senses.
yeah, disciplined student, hacker, pattern recognition, scout, and sharp senses, which is your reroll for X.
Yep, sharp senses works.
You have 2 fake IDs, an AP pistol, 4 standard reloads, a breaking and entering kit, and a recorder.
Yep. As for my career event, where is it? Where was it? You are sent out into the field as a roving specialist. Gain 4 languages. It's in Table C.
Let's see. All right.
And with that, we're going to finish.
Okay, finish the career phase. Now we move on to Geist. It's a bit weird that a that a toaster is going to have a Geist, but okay.
As for the Geist, the Geist is going to have +1 to personality and +1 to intelligence.
All right. And for the skills,
+1 expertise and +1 focus to command, and +1 expertise and +1 focus to observation.
right? And then the final tweaks.
Yep. +1 to awareness and +1 to coordination.
Right? And for skills,
focus 1 on command and focus 1 on hacking.
right. And now for another long-ass talent list.
Yep, I know. Minions from command.
Minions. Individuals under the character's authority become extremely loyal to them, even willing to sacrifice themselves. Anytime the character comes under attack and has a character under their command within 3 meters, they may pay 1 heat to have that character immediately perform a guard reaction.
Yeah.
And that's the Geist is the Count.
No, you want to know what this guy's name is, everybody? Have you guessed it yet, Monk?
I'm afraid to ask.
What's your guess first? That's just what I want to know.
You know what? I'm throwing in the towel.
Theodore Roosevelt. Commanding presence, knows how to shoot a gun, knows how to survive out in the wilderness, has a lot of people that follow him, aka minions, even got shot and made fun of the guy who shot him while he was making a speech.
And for some reason, Theodore Roosevelt here can speak Portuguese, Thai, French, and Punjabi.
You know, that's fine. I never said he was going to speak English again. Pork chop. It doesn't matter. It's Theodore Roosevelt.
So let's have.
All right, I guess that makes it your turn to do a turn of 12.
Yep, this will be the last one. This will be the last one, and since it is the last one, let's go completely nuts.
Okay.
All sources on.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Monk. You're going batshit now.
And well, it's the last one, so we may as well. And Porkchop saying, so your Geist is a teddy bear.
A rabid teddy bear. Yes, you could even call it a drop bear.
Let's not. We don't have enough meth for that.
Who needs meth? You just need the great outdoors, son.
So, birth host staying at sevens. Staying at sevens for life points. Host body. So we have the choice between human, dogface, antipode, wolver, helot, uplift avian, uplift canine, uplift Catesian, uplift
cetacean. That means a crab.
As tempting as it would be to go with one of the uplifts, I'm sticking with human. And as far as the faction, let's see. How about for faction we go with Haki Islam.
Okay.
So
Aloha snack bar.
Medicine is the signature skill, and we have the physician talent. Let's see. As far as where we were born. Enemy crab has entered the battlefield. Let's go with Borak.
Which Borak?
Gabquar.
Okay.
If anybody's mad about the pronunciation, leave a comment down below, but leave it in Arabic. Right, and 1 expertise to survival. All right, social class. As tempting as it would be to go with one of the Al-Mustalasha.
Mustaslasha.
Sorry.
That's all good.
Let's go with Hyper Elite. And then home environment. Frontier life. Because that just seems like a really messed up combo, doesn't it?
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I will go grab that and throw that immediately into Google Translate because I'm sure that's what he did too.
That's the first time somebody's called that particular scheme.
That shtick.
I'm surprised we haven't gotten anybody from China doing that. Instead, they just yell at me about my pronunciation for the umpteenth time.
I'm so angry that you can't read this.
All of that is literally what it said.
I'm so angry that you can't read this clearly is what translate.google.com gives me.
All right. And because we have Frontier Life, we have 1 expertise in Resistance and +1 in Brawn and +1 in Willpower from Hyper Elite. So then, Youth Event. So let's see. Oh, this is perfect for somebody from Haki Islam. Radical biomodification. So then we go with education, and I'm going to go with technical education.
Which is technically correct. The best kind of correct.
Yep. So a boost. So 2 to awareness, 1 to intelligence, and -1 to willpower. So let's put a focus in education, expertise in observation, expertise in pilot, expertise in tech, and thievery. For elective skills, let's go with 1 in lifestyle and 1 in hacking. And for
We have a lot of hacking to the we have a lot of hacking to the gate here.
And for signature skill, I'm going to boost education. So we take the disciplined student talent. The character paid attention in class, was extensively self-taught, or both. They constantly sought out knowledge beyond the scope of the minimum necessary training. If they generate at least 1 success when attempting an education test, they may immediately roll an additional d20 and add the result to the test. We get a powered multi-tool and a repair kit with 5 parts.
Nice.
Right, then adolescence event. And let's see. You were stabbed in the back, possibly literally.
Tasty.
Let's see, let's go with... Yeah, there's a lot of potential options, but I want to go with one of the faction-based options. So what if there was a sandstorm? Your friend needed an anti-venom and you were determined to see that they got it. Increase resolve by 1 rank.
Nice.
Let's see. And I know we haven't done Hazard Career, but that's mostly because I'm not sure about the benefits being worth it. But
Well, especially considering that we don't know how the die roll is made. I've actually tested it out a couple times. It doesn't show you how the die roll is made.
So we are going to roll a faction career. And the faction, of course, is going to be Haki Islam. Gray Market Spy.
That just means you're Robin Williams.
So
because you come from a land in a faraway place.
+1 agility, +3 awareness, no modifier to brawn, +1 coordination, +1 intelligence, +2 personality, and +1 willpower. So let's put a focus in thievery and a focus in lifestyle. And as for elective skills, a focus in observation and a focus in hacking. As for signature skills, let's put one. I'm going to put that in observation. And for the next talent, I think I will go with Natural Engineer. When making a tech test, the character may reroll any dice that did not generate a success on the initial roll, but must accept the new result. And we have a Gin Cloak and either a Fake ID 3 or a Breaking and Entering kit. I'm gonna go with Fake ID, gray market and all that, and either a hacking device or a Vrabek pistol. Let's go with the pistol.
Got to be prepared for the troubles.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, then career event. Once again, we'll do with
The Haki Slum table.
mm-hmm. So
Ooh, that's a cool one.
what?
The one that if you play dominoes with the guy, you can automatically reduce the difficulty of hazarding for Assassin by 1.
Yeah, let's go with that. During a midnight visit to Medina's coffee houses, you played a competitive game of dominoes with a kindly older man. As he leaves, the barista looks like they've seen a ghost. If you attempt to hazard the Assassin, Fide, or Exemplar careers, reduce the difficulty by 1. If you choose to stay in your current career, increase your status by 1.
This means that you can hazard the career as a new career and reduce the difficulty. You could probably reduce it to simple if you spend 1 extra life point, and you'd be spending life points choosing or rolling anyway.
Yep.
So
let's try that. Let's hazard career. And
Assassin.
let's
You're at the
go
Fide or the Exemplar.
they both have this. They both have the same. They both have the same mandatory skills, and neither have elective skills. Let's go with Exemplar. Uh,
Oh, that's an issue. You don't have any of the requisite skills. Never mind. Assassin Fide is the suicide assassin, says Porkchop. So I guess you can't take it because you don't have close combat, stealth, or discipline. Which probably means you should go back to that career event and choose something different.
mm-hmm. Wait, tag pilot.
Remember, you can navigate backwards with the arrow at the bottom left.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's do a different career event since obviously we're not going to be a assassin. Here might be a good one. While on a solitary desert pilgrimage, you happen across a prominent figure in a bad way. Your quick thinking and natural knowledge saves their life. Gain 1 rank in survival. You may select the Akbar Doctor career without making a hazard test.
Gonna be an Akbar Doctor.
Let's see, and we'll put one focus in survival. Then go with new career, hazard career.
Wait, there was a new thing at the top there. I think that was going to allow you to choose Akbar Doctor without hazarding it. You could just go down to cancel, I think, or new career.
New career.
Free career, yeah, right there. Free career's 1.
there's a lot of things that this particular creator can do, and we've only scratched the surface of it. So bear with us. Of course you should be used to us making mistakes.
We're only we're not infallible after all.
All right. So Akbar Doctor. So let's see, one in discipline. Let's go with one in medicine, and let's go with one focus in education. Then elective skills. Let's see, one expertise in analysis and one expertise in one focus in medicine. So let's see what we have for talents. Emergency doctor, field dressing, knowledge specialization, pattern recognition, research specialist, self-treatment, stubborn, and trivia master. Let's see. Given the event, I'm thinking going with emergency doctor.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and let's see, Akbar kit or med kit and one dose of silk. I think we'll go with Akbar kit. And then career event. Let's go. This will be a good one. You- Silk isn't too far removed from spice, and because of the fact that Haq-Islam has such a monopoly on silk, it's the reason why nobody wants to get into open conflict with them. But a Silk Lord bequeaths you a portion of their wealth. Are you related? If not, why have they chosen you? Gain 5 assets. Let's see, and we will finish there. Now for the Geist. And let's see. Let's see. One in intelligence and one in awareness for the Geist. And let's put one expertise in education, one in psychology, and an expertise and focus in science. Now the final tweaks. Awareness is the only one we can't boost any further because it's capped.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go with. Let's put one in intelligence and I'd say one in agility. Then we have the skills options. We'll put one focus in analysis. And one expertise in science. And I'd say we can go with field dressing.
All right. Really deep diving into that into that whole thing of being a doctore.
Mm-hmm. So, and I am probably I am give me a moment because I need to go into I have to go with at least with it a name that's at least somewhat Middle Eastern. So I am going to go into the to one of the name generators I have. So let's see. Let's go. I ended up going on fantasy name generators because it's the ideal spot for me whenever I need a name on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Brian is saying that we should go with Mohammed. That's way too easy. That's like playing a Wuxia game and naming your character Lee because there's a million Lees.
Mm-hmm.
Um, here's a good one. Ibrahim El Hossein. And that takes care of that, and we could have gone further because we still have 3 life points left.
Mm-hmm.
But we seem to have. The funny thing about this setup is that we seem to have fallen into some habits.
Mm-hmm.
Chief among them is chief among those habits is a whole lot of tech heads and a whole lot of doctors.
Except for Mike Theodore Roosevelt.
Mm-hmm.
Walk softly and carry a big stick till you can shoot people.
But I'd say the last one is the I ended up making two. I ended up essentially making 2 doctor characters. The first one is could be considered a field medic, although more of a field handyman because he's doing medical and he's doing tech. So he's the guy to fix up the toaster.
The way I see it, he was Dr. Bones except for robots.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you called him Dr. House.
Yeah, he called him Dr. Maison, which is French for house. Because again, I am a smartass.
Everyone's military pork chop points out. Yeah, in some way, shape, or form.
Though to be fair, given the setup of what player characters are supposed to be,
That's not surprising.
yeah.
Roosevelt is a toaster Maison can fix.
You're not wrong.
Just imagine Roosevelt screaming at you in Farsi, though.
That would be a terrifying prospect. But I was always under the impression that the RPG version of InfiNity is operating under the assumption that the PCs are members of Bureau Noir.
Mm-hmm.
which is basically the Secret Service of O12. That's the vibe that I've always gotten, especially with the Black Ops, and the fact that the core book name drops the concept of Wilderness of Mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is also why I often tell people that trying to approach Infinity as if it's Stars War it is only Stars War if you played Tor and you played Imperial Agent,
Mm-hmm.
which, to be fair, is one of the more interesting stories in the Tortanic, but still.
Tortanic.
I,
That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
mm-hmm. The I usually tell people think think of your favorite spy fiction stories, whether it be Jason Bourne or even James Bond for that matter, or any of the better Tom Clancy games. Put that in
Or
space,
books.
and yeah, put that in space, and that's what you've got. In fact, you could probably Jack Reacher would be a perfect Bureau Noir agent.
Yeah, but that's because Jack Reacher is some sort of Ubermensch. I will never forgive Tom Cruise for casting himself, a less than 6 foot manlet with black hair, in the role of the 6'5", 260 pounds of pure muscle, blonde hair, blue-eyed Jack Reacher.
The Amazon series, I think, did a better job.
Absolutely, that Jack Reacher was excellent, and I'm actually happy to say that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Jack Reacher is some sort of Ubermensch, so he could fit in just about anywhere that needs someone with a specialized set of skills, as Liam Neeson would say.
Yeah. And truth be told,
Particular set of skills.
for whatever reason, spy fiction and science fiction, people treat those two like they can't mix, for reasons I have never understood and still don't understand.
I don't understand either. I mean, even the Lensmen had a lot of intrigue in them.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Especially the only thing that really changes when you're doing that kind of thing is scale. You're still
Not even scale, just focus. Focus on what part of the scale you're looking at.
Yeah. I think this is a consequence of a lot of people looking at space opera as
De facto default.
Not the Stars War of Trek as the approach you're supposed to take with space opera or with any sort of spacefaring science fiction.
Yeah, like I was saying, they take the de facto default of sci-fi to be synonymous with space opera,
Mm-hmm.
which is not the case.
That's also why I brought up Mass Effect, because say what you will about Mass Effect, but it at least dipped into some spy aspects, especially with the
In the first game.
especially in the first game, and also the Shadow Broker DLC in 2.
It didn't really go full on space opera until 3, technically.
Yeah.
Like there were elements of space opera in the first 2 games, but when we got the full overarching full on space opera was when, well, the Reapers finally reached the Milky Way.
Mm-hmm. I think it's because of the fact that when you're doing spy fiction, you can't really do cops and robbers.
Mm-hmm.
But in that same, maybe I'm a little bit biased because whenever I would run say Shadowrun,
Mm-hmm.
I would focus more on white collar crime. Instead of the whole you're trying to do some smash and grab job at it against a corpo. No, it's you're trying to get in and steal some data without anybody noticing.
Yeah. Takes a little more skill to do that too.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, sometimes jobs are more of a payday or a client wanting to screw someone over, but in some cases I have done that in more combat heavy approaches. I think one of them was a company wanting to mess with a live fire test. In other words, a simulated battlefield, but somebody wanted to fuck with the other people's tech.
Yeah.
But because of the we've talked about this with fantasy, but science fiction is no stranger to this. You're dealing with two genres where you can feasibly do anything, which is why I'm so harsh on people who limit the approach to those genres into such a narrow net.
Understandably so.
And I remember Casey Hudson in one of the press interviews for, I think it was for the original Mass Effect. He had said that they built the setting to accommodate any kind of story they wanted to tell, and this was especially the case with the Citadel.
Mm-hmm.
And that is certainly the case, although as Racevic has pointed out, a lot of the stories that they do end up telling are still limited because of the kind of game that they want to play, and, well, some of the ones that they wanted to tell got voted out, like the idea of playing a spin-off during the First Contact War, which, honestly, I would have at least appreciated it.
Yeah. Doesn't help that, they phased Drew Karpyshyn out of the writing spotlight either. And so we didn't get the ending intended by the original writer.
Yeah, which we talked about when we talked about the Curse of Choice.
Indeed.
But this is also the reason why I actively encourage people to not treat one particular IP in a genre as what you're supposed to do. Now, obviously, Zan has his biases in terms of good and bad SF, as do I, but there's no design by gospel. Design by gospel can be just as applicable when writing fiction as it can when designing a game.
Yep.
Or even just mechanics within a game. And this is the reason why over the last month I've been doing a lot of pondering of what is actually required and what we've conditioned ourselves to think is required.
What has become comfortable, I think, is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Since we're always making the Linus security blanket comparisons.
I partially make that gag because Minnesota is the birthplace of peanuts.
Mm-hmm.
But it applies very well because so many people know peanuts in one form or another, and thus people know Linus. And the fact that there's always the image of him sucking his thumb while holding a blue blanket.
Yep.
Now, when I'm examining these kind of things, I want to make clear that does not mean just throw all the rules out with the mindset of, oh, we can do anything. Just because you can do anything does not mean you should try and do everything. Go ahead.
I was going to say, with me, it always boils down to the what I call the core ideal or the central conceit.
Mm-hmm.
You need that identity, that central pillar, that core of whatever you're making or whatever you're reading or whatever you might be doing
Mm-hmm.
to build around.
Pretty
That's why I
much.
stress it.
Yeah. It's also the reason why I keep telling people don't just throw out rules ideas if you're designing something, but actually have a point. If you want to just throw out ideas, you can certainly do that, but just doing that alone isn't going to get you anywhere. Unless you like wasting time, which fair play if you do, but I don't see the point. But that is going to do it for this particular episode of GeekWatch. We will be back. We will be back next week. In fact, let me take a look at what's next on the. Oh, Zan, we're doing that next week. Prep the rant button.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting on this one for weeks. I'd say waiting on this one all month, and I did inform Everglade that I will be sending it to him when we are finished, because World Cyberpunk Day is next month. Speaking of which, on Wednesday we'll be looking at the Jumpstart kit, not the Jumpstart kit, the easy mode, which isn't really an easy mode. It's just a quick start of Cyberpunk Red. And I will have a handful of interviews throughout the week, hopefully, including the return of Scott Malthouse, who I'm probably going to make fun of him for being a Braves fan, because I have to. And tomorrow will be our next recording, and or not recording, our next stream of the Parliament of Geeks. So as I keep quoting Yoshi P in this kind of thing, please look forward to it. So until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk,